Hi everyone, thanks for watching or listening to Abstemiously John. I'm John, licensed clinician, change facilitator, and wellness content creator. In this video, we wrap up our nicotine series and I'm excited to get to my favorite part. We are discussing nicotine use disorders, but more importantly, why are you still smoking or vaping, and how can you cut down or stop today? I also share some professional experience from my counseling practice and a little bit about my personal experience with nicotine use disorders. So like or comment below, check out the entire nicotine series, and please subscribe for more. If you stumbled upon this video, it's probably because you're one of the billion users around the world who feels quitting nicotine is impossible. I'm here to tell you this is simply not true. You absolutely can stop using nicotine, and more importantly, you can stay stopped for good. These days, there are countless ways to quit, and you can likely be successful using many of them. But no matter which you choose, it's important not to give up and make it easier on yourself by taking steps to increase the odds of your success and decrease the odds of future nicotine use. To stack the odds in your favor and reduce the chances of struggling, you can first put some effort into learning what nicotine is and what it's actually doing when it enters your body. Hopefully you've already done this, as the information is readily available from many sources, including my other videos. Understanding nicotine can help explain physical and emotional changes, your personal rationalizations for use, help manage your expectations, and allows you to gain insight into your triggers, urges, and hopefully productive methods to maintain progress towards your goals when times get tough. It can also clarify reasons or explain why you're motivated to use nicotine continuously and why willpower alone may not be enough for anyone. Next, people can explore the benefits of nicotine. Why is it valuable to you? Why do you use it? And how is it helping? Although many would not think to do this, taking an internal inventory for your rationale is crucial. In my experience personally and professionally, most people report nicotine helps them by regulating stress and negative emotions. Though, as a clinician, I've heard countless reasons. Some common ones include because it helps me relax, keeps me from gaining weight, gives me energy, breaks up my routine, gives me a buzzed feeling, helps me socialize, and of course, because I just like it. Looking at these specific justifications can be extremely useful when trying to make any change, as looking inward allows you to identify motivating factors and helps you build a customized toolbox of productive coping skills for a nicotine-free life. Analyzing these justifications and possible benefits may also help you decide if your thoughts are based in reality or if they are clouded by nicotine use disorder. Remember, nicotine has convinced your body into thinking it's important for your survival and required for you to feel good, when in reality, it just manipulates the chemicals responsible for these feelings. The truth is, most people who continuously use nicotine are just trying to avoid crappy feelings caused by a drop in nicotine levels. This happens because your body adjusted to the presence of nicotine and you are simply avoiding early withdrawal symptoms, which usually involves mood changes. Although most nicotine users who stop do indeed feel crappy, it's important you understand any negative thoughts or feelings are just temporary, will not last forever, and dissipate much faster than you think. After you finish your list of nicotine use benefits, you may find you've also highlighted possible obstacles which may impede future success. For instance, if you smoke or vape to reduce boredom or to kill time, how are you planning to address boredom and idle time in the future? If you smoke to socialize, how can you stop nicotine without causing isolation? Also, learning about your relationship with nicotine can help you build the skills needed to restructure those pesky, irrational thoughts which motivate continued use. You hopefully will learn ways to self-regulate and process these stressors, reducing the desire to consume nicotine in the future, and to also eliminate many of your hesitations to quitting today. I like to explain if you put all your energy into nicotine use as a primary coping skill, energy and time is diverted from problem solving, like increasing physical activity, improving time management skills, nutrition, your financial situation, or anything else to address the true source. We often find the problem was not removed by the nicotine, and when left unattended, stress tends to snowball. Eventually, by relying on nicotine as a quick fix and not learning new problem-solving skills, you may experience feelings of helplessness in this and other areas of your life, such as the hopeless feelings you get when thinking about quitting nicotine. Luckily, the more you self-regulate in the future, the less these negative feelings arise. People trying to quit nicotine should also try and think more critically about their motives, like how for the most part cigarettes don't keep people thin, and this was just a major marketing campaign for a large, or should I say thin, cigarette company. I know for me, I was heaviest back when I smoked. Keep in mind, for the most part, any initial weight gains are usually minimal and dissipate after a few weeks. I also ask questions to help put things into perspective, so people can see if nicotine is in fact helping or hurting them. My questions come in many forms, but essentially, imagine a common stressor and rate it in intensity. Boredom, money, socialization, routine, and so forth are all common examples. Then, imagine something like leaving the house, you pull up to work or school, and you realize you left the cigarettes or vape behind. How do you feel now? What is the intensity of this feeling, and can you survive the day? Many will find nicotine's absence impacts their confidence to get through the day, let alone thrive. Hopefully, people attempting to stop nicotine start to see how use may result purely from the psychological and biological stress of not having any nicotine. Facing this fear and being able to imagine a life without it is a vital step towards a nicotine-free life. I've mentioned triggers and urges a lot, as nicotine creates associations between your senses and other experiences quite easily. In this context, a trigger could be anything you see, hear, taste, or smell, which you associated with nicotine, and an urge is the desire to consume nicotine as a result. It can be as easy as seeing someone vape in person or even on TV, smelling cigarettes or a specific fruit flavoring, or simply hearing music you listen to during use. Remember though, you don't need to see or even be around anything at all to feel triggered. As if when you felt frustrated or angry, you tended to consume nicotine, these emotions will likely result in future urges as well. Basically, you must remember to address internal triggers, which arise from within you like boredom or anxiety, and external triggers, which arise from outside of your body like certain settings, sights, and smells. It's then important you create strategies to reduce and manage the resulting urges, as although first there is a trigger, and second there is an urge, third is the behavior, and that's what you have control over. You are, in fact, in control of your reactions to these triggers and urges, and hopefully your reaction is a productive one in alignment with your other goals. A common way people manage urges is by disassociating the original trigger in the first place. For me, each time I got an urge to smoke a vape or a cigarette, while in my home or office, I used fitness bands to do curls or did a few push-ups. Eventually, my brain realized the trigger and resulting urge for nicotine did not end in a rewarding dose of nicotine, but rather physical activity. This is just one example, but coming up with a productive plan which works best for you is another especially important part of quitting and staying stopped for good. Another critical phase is to become aware of why you want to stop in the first place. It can be common health concerns like risk of cancer, breathing problems, or pain in your respiratory system. Or you might just be sick of being held captive by a device or nicotine product. Nicotine might also be negatively impacting your performance professionally and personally, as well as your relationships, like with your spouse, your boss, kids, or parents. By looking at why you want to stop, you can essentially take stock of what you will gain from a nicotine-free life. These benefits are important for you to note because motivation and goal setting is a cycle, and like any literal or metaphorical cycle, you must first get it started and then build sustaining momentum. Listing goals is not only a way to get them out of your head and on paper, but increases the odds of success and acts as a reminder for you if you find yourself struggling in the future. You can create a small list of motivating factors for your wallet, phone, add it to a vision board, paint it on a wall, or simply put a sticky note on your mirror. If none of these were appealing, be creative because there are countless ways to help start and sustain your motivation cycle. In addition to the previously discussed wellness pursuits, it's possible and probably likely you may require additional help. This is absolutely okay, and the only problem would be if you did need extra help and gave up simply because you didn't pursue it. Furthermore, if you've tried something previously without success, it's important to be resilient and modify or continue your goal progress in a way that works better for you. If you found past attempts were unsuccessful, you should look at why. What led up to going back to nicotine, and how could you possibly have done things differently? It could be a few small changes, additional therapies, or you could change things up completely and start from scratch. The important part is you kept going to find what works. Although I'm about to talk about a few options, please understand most devices, medications, and therapies are to aid in your efforts, and none are magical cures. Any treatment, product, or device is simply a tool you use to help facilitate your goals. Like any tool, they can either help or hurt depending on what you do with them, and should be used appropriately and under the supervision of a licensed professional. First, there are many nicotine replacement therapies like gums, lozenges, transdermal patches, nasal sprays, inhalers, mouth sprays, and some lingual products. NRTs are available over the counter and by prescription, and are basically products containing specific levels of nicotine to help reduce withdrawal symptoms. As a result, triggers and urges may also decrease in duration and frequency, so you can focus more on building coping skills for a life that no longer supports nicotine use. The idea is to start on a large dose and gradually decrease and eventually stop altogether. Some benefits include possible reduction in cravings and less physical withdrawal symptoms, but users should note any product containing nicotine could be addictive or abused. This may be why I've personally seen more success with products providing measurable treatment goals like a step-down plan. For my journey, I like the stable nicotine level of a patch, but some people may find better success with the ability to rely on gums or other options for their specific needs. There are many nicotine replacement products on the market, so it's important all of them should be used as directed and under the care of a provider familiar with your medical history. Many people choose to vape over smoking cigarettes and other nicotine products, and in some countries the transition is used as a benchmark to signify success in cigarette cessation. As previously discussed here and in some of my other videos, the type of nicotine can determine whether or not the switch is effective for someone, and then their ability to stop vaping after they transition. Many individuals who vape free-base nicotine find it less satisfying but easier to stop completely, while nicotine salt users find it more satisfying and easier to switch to, but harder to stop completely. This may be due to the chemical nature of the nicotine, the levels of nicotine, or the way the body interacts with it. Like many nicotine replacement therapies, one should consult with professionals and be mindful of the delivery system is not causing more harm than good, like heavy metals and such. Medications can also be useful. Varenicline is a common medication indicated for nicotine cessation and acts by activating and blocking involved receptors to reduce withdrawal symptoms and the effects of nicotine if it's used again in the future. This hopefully decreases the reward and incentive to use. Bupropion, on the other hand, is a well-known antidepressant which can help nicotine cessation goals through activation of neuroreceptors and reducing the reuptake of neurotransmitters responsible for staving off withdrawal symptoms. These medications require a prescription, and you should consult with a medical provider as there are possible side effects. Behavior therapies and counseling approaches can also help you achieve many goals and work well alone or in combination with any other of the approaches mentioned. Cognitive behavior therapy is one of the most popular and is a specialty of many clinicians, or at least used alongside other modalities. Motivational interviewing is another approach which helps clients reduce their hesitations to quit and increases motivation to pursue wellness goals. It may also help point out behaviors which no longer align with their current goals and plans. Mindfulness is another commonly used intervention and is being just that, mindful of yourself and the environment to increase self-awareness and help reduce the intensity and impact of triggers and urges. Mindfulness can help adjust your relationship with cravings by decreasing their intensity and therefore nicotine's ability to dictate your behaviors. Lastly, reality therapy can help focus on problem solving and making better choices to achieve your goals and address irrational thoughts and behaviors by teaching new skills to maintain goal progress. These are just a few therapies out there, and most can be effective if performed or combined by qualified professionals or used in conjunction with other medications and interventions. Although these are just a few of the most popular treatments, many more therapies, devices, procedures, and medications exist, and more are being researched each day. So in closing, if I can give you any advice, it would be to start asking yourself questions like, what are you doing to help yourself quit today? What did you learn about yourself or nicotine? And how can you use it to make some changes that work for you? Do you realize change happens in the moment, and you need to make change when you feel the urge, not tomorrow, not after your last cigarette, or when your cartridge runs out? Also, what are some of the underlying triggers you experience? What drives you to keep using nicotine? Are you identifying these things and building the required life skills, coping skills, or productive activities needed to overcome them? What are your goals and how do they motivate you? What will you gain by quitting? How can you remind yourself of these things when you're struggling? How can you build a plan with small, measurable steps to get there? What are you doing to keep these goals fresh in your mind? And lastly, are you willing to stay flexible, resilient, and modify your plan if needed in the future? I hope this video was useful. Please hit the like button. Feel free to comment with thoughts and suggestions, and subscribe for more interviews and other videos. Thank you, and stay well.